What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Monday, April 14th. We're going to break down every MLB game on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure you're checking that pin comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and starters are confirmed. Yesterday, guys, things went all right, but not great. Once again, we go 2-3 out there, so not the ideal day. We had the Giants minus 105. Great start there, guys. Young-Hoo Lee going off for 2 home runs in the game, and the Giants come away with a win. So we cashed game 1, but game 2, a little bit of bad luck there on the Angels-Houston under. A 5-run second inning really put us in bad position there. We had Detroit plus 104. Mize was just terrible out there, so I guess the odds makers knew what they were talking about. We had the Phillies minus 1.5, expecting a big bounce back there from Zach Wheeler. Unfortunately, he was horrible again. So was the offense there for the Phillies. They end up getting shut out in that game. So pretty unfortunate. We do end the day on a high note. Logan Gilbert having a very nice outing for us there on the Mariners minus 135, and they come away with a 3-1 win. So that is a little bit of, not a day saver necessarily, but a day helper for sure. So 2-3 again. Let's get back on track. A game that would have been amazing to end up in the pinned comment, which we didn't quite have the guts to do it, but was those Chicago Cubs plus like 200 and something. They were around a 2-1 underdog, and they come through for us on that small lean, winning that game 4-2. So that would have been a cool one to put in the pin comment, but maybe next time, guys. Do me a big favor, slam that like button. It's free, helps me a ton, and shows your appreciation for the channel. If you're new here, subscribe. It definitely keeps you from missing our daily videos. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. Quick reminder, all of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks. Major League Baseball has been our most profitable sport the last 3 years in a row, and obviously it is hitting the ground running here in the early going. Once you get to StumpTheSpread.com, you'll be able to see our exclusive free picks only posted there, our free-to-use bet size calculators, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not always match what you see here in the video. You also need to sign up for our free email list to get free picks straight to your inbox every single day and updates on our results. Just make sure to check your spam folder. If you're a huge fan of what we're doing here every single day, you can sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members are eligible for our members only giveaways. We'll be giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member here on April 20th. So 7 days away from time of recording, 6 days away from when you'll probably have seen this video is when we will be rolling for our hoodie giveaway here for April. And hopefully next month we'll be giving away 2 hoodies. As always, guys, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. And now let's get into our first game of the day. We got the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Nationals come into this game fresh off of a tough series there at Miami. They lost 2 out of 3. They won game 1 7-4, but after that it got kind of bleak, and they lost game 3 yesterday 11-4. So not ideal. They're 6-9 to start the year, so a long way to go. They're an interesting team, though. They've got some talent out there, and a talented young guy they're handing the ball to in this game is Brad Lord, who comes into this one, normally a bullpen starter, guys, but he's making his second start of the year. Hasn't figured in a result, but he's sporting a 1.80 ERA. His last outing was against the Dodgers. He went 3 innings in that one. It was a start. Gave up 2 hits, walked 2, and struck out 4, giving up no runs in the game in what was eventually an 8-2 win there for the Nationals. Now, other than that, he did give up a run. It was unearned against Toronto, but overall, he's had a very good beginning to his season. So I'm expecting pretty decent stuff out there from Brad Lord, an interesting 25-year-old right-hander out of Tallahassee. Like, the young guy can throw it for sure. He's off to a good start this season, so we'll see what he can do. Now, the problem for me in this situation is how deep can we expect him to go in this game? I would guess definitely not more than 5 innings. I think 5 innings would be if he was really out there dealing and keeping that pitch count low. Now, the Nationals bullpen's going to have to come in at some point, guys, and it's not very good. They're actually last in the majors right now in bullpen ERA with an ERA of over 6. Now, do I think their bullpen is actually that bad? No, I don't. I think it's a little bit overblown here in the early goings, but it does give me reason for concern. Now, on the offensive side, the Nationals have seen some guys get off to pretty good starts. I mean, Ruiz is still batting .373. James Woods has 5 home runs in the early goings. Nathaniel Lowe's put up 15 RBIs. They're 12th in the majors in runs scored. They're batting .235 as a team, which is right around average. Their on-base percentage is pretty average, but their slugging percentage is top 10 still, so they're doing some good stuff at the plate. They've scored 4, 6, 7, 5, and 8 runs over their last few games. Like, not a team that's struggling too mightily at the plate. So we'll see what they do in this one, guys. They're going up against the Pirates, who are only 5-11 on the season. They just got swept there at Cincinnati, losing 5-3, 5-2, and 4-0. So that's not a great look. The Pirates seem like they are in for a really, really rocky season once again. They're handing the ball in this one to the one guy that's supposed to, drag this team kind of single-handedly out of the doldrums, and that's Paul Skeens. He's 1-1 to start the year, a 3.44 ERA. His last start, though, was his worst start in his career. He was going up against the Cardinals. He lasted 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, but 5 earned runs in that game. He struck out 7 and walked 1. Hasn't given up a home run yet this season, but bro has given up some runs. That was rough. The Pirates lose that game 5-3, so he'll be looking to bounce back. His other 2 starts have been pretty good. Gave up 3 hits and a single run over 7 innings against Tampa Bay, and then over 5 1/3 against the Marlins. He gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs, so I wouldn't say Skeens has looked quite as unhittable this season. Obviously, everybody's got, an off-season's worth of film to watch on him and stuff like that, so that definitely helps. Now, when Skeens inevitably comes out of this game, we're going to see the Pirates' bullpen, and they've been slightly above average, not amazing, obviously not having an incredible time in that series against Cincinnati, so we'll see if they've got something of a bounce back in them or just continue doing okay. The problem for the Pirates this year, amidst other things, has been their offense. They are dead last in the majors in batting average, batting 190 as a team. They're dead last in slugging percentage with a slugging percentage of under 300. They're tied for 24th in the majors in runs scored. We don't see anybody off to a good start. Brian Reynolds is leading the team with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and Bro's batting 206. So, a lot of negatives right now for the Pirates, obviously scoring 0, 2, and 3 runs in that series at Cincinnati. The Great American Ballpark not giving up a lot of offense in that one. So we've got a lot of concerns here about the Pirates, guys. There's no way around that. The odds makers, though, have the Pirates as minus 220 favorites. We've got the Nationals at plus 195. We've got a total out there of 7. Washington's only 1-5 on the road. They are 10-5 to the over. The Pirates 3-3 at home, 8, 7, and 1 to the under. Guys, this is another situation just like the one we alluded to a little bit yesterday and talked about in the intro when we were talking about the Cubs. They were such big underdogs. It just didn't make sense. And at this point in the season, I don't think any team is good enough to deserve to be this big of favorites, especially not the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't even care if Skeens is on the mound, guys. Give me the Nationals here at plus 195. Now, will we have the guts to put this in the pinned comment? I'm not going to lie to you. Today, there's actually a chance. Now, maybe that should only be like a half-unit play or something like that. You're getting them at basically 2-1. So I think the Nationals here are definitely the value side as opposed to the Pirates, who are minus 220, simply thanks to Skeens' being on the mound. In our second game of the day, we're looking at the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Giants come into this game 11-4 to start the year. They just won 2 out of 3 there at Yankee Stadium, so that'd feel great. Obviously, a couple home runs there from our boy Young-Hoo Lee. Very, very appreciated there. We'll certainly take it. Yeah, great start to the season for the Giants. Not a team that I necessarily had super high in my preseason, rankings, but they were in there, guys, and we've seen some good stuff here out of the gates. They're hanging the ball in this one to Landon Roop. He comes in this game 0-1 on the season, a 3.60 ERA. His first start against Houston wasn't amazing. He only lasted 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, but he bounced back well. He gave up 7 hits over 6 innings, but only a single earned run there against Cincinnati Reds. So also Bro struck out 4, walked 0. So it seems like some of those control issues were likely solved. He's not a huge dude out there on the mound, but he's got pretty good stuff, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. He's only 26, got to cut him a little bit of slack, and overall, I think the guy is looking pretty good on the mound. Now, once he comes out of this game, we are very excited about what we're seeing from the bullpen there for the Giants. A 1.82 bullpen ERA has them second best in the majors. That is obviously real nice to have. We see Young-Hoo Lee out there going nuts in terms of the offense, guys. He's got batting .352. He's slugging over 700. Very nice stuff there. Wilmer Flores is doing his thing in the early goings. He's got 6 home runs and 19 RBIs already. Both those guys are a big reason this team is 9th in the majors in runs scored and 11th in slugging percentage. Now, do I expect these numbers to last forever? Maybe not. They are only 19th in the majors in batting average. Over the last few games, though, they've scored 5, 4, 9, 8, 0, and 0 runs. So, yeah, a little slump there against Cincinnati, but seems like that is pretty much over. Now, will they continue putting up numbers here on the road against the Phillies? Well, the Phillies come into this game having a weird time. Not going to lie. They just lost 2 out of 3 there at the Cardinals, and they got shut out in 2 out of those 3 games. Not exactly a great look. The Phillies are 9-6 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this one to Taijuan Walker, who's 1-0 to start his season, has yet to give up an earned run. Have his starts really looked that dazzling? Well, his first one was good against the Rockies, so let's not freak out too much. But 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed is good. But at Atlanta, his next time out, 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He didn't give up any runs, and we did eventually see the Phillies win that game 4-3. But was it 100% his fault? I struggle to kind of think that's the case. So I'm not super stoked on him at the moment. We'll see what he can do here down the stretch. We'll also see what we get out of that Phillies bullpen here, which has been a big concern. A 4.27 bullpen ERA has them well below MLB average. The offense is an even bigger concern than that bullpen. It's gotten off to a rocky start. Aside from Schwarber, the power numbers are definitely down. They're 11th in batting average, 14th in runs scored, but they've scored a grand total of 1 run over their last 3 games. And in the series before that, where they also lost 2 out of 3, they scored 2, 4, and 5 runs respectively. Like, that's not what this team is designed to be doing. So we'll see what happens for the Phillies offensively in this game. It's got to get better at some point, right? The Giants are plus 100 in this game. The Phillies are minus 118. We've got a total of 8.5. The Giants are 7-2 on the road. That's an MLB best mark on the road. They're 10-5 to the over. The Phillies are 5-1 at home, which looks pretty impressive. They are 11-4 to the under. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not really buying into the T1 Walker hype here to start the season. I like the Giants at plus 100. I'm not too interested in that total. I would maybe lean a bit towards the under on that if I'm being honest, but I think the Giants plus 100 in this one is definitely the side you want to be on. They're the hotter team. The Phillies are really struggling at the plate, and while I'm sure that'll turn around at some point, I don't really think it's going to be in this game. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Boston Red Sox hitting the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Red Sox 8-9 to start the season, and they just lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. Pretty embarrassing stuff. Needed that 3-1 win and an 11 strikeout performance there from Crochet to get the win at Chicago in Game 3. So we'll see if Boston can turn it around here. They're handing the ball to Tanner Houck, who's 0-1 to start the year, a 4.41 ERA. He's making his 4th start of the season. His 3rd start did look pretty good. He had a good time there against Toronto. 6 2/3 innings, 5 hits, only 1 run allowed. He walked 2 and struck out 2. Definitely his best start after getting knocked around a bit by the Rangers and by the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll see what he does here. Obviously a step down in terms of the offense that he's facing, but I haven't necessarily loved his stuff this year. So we'll see what we get out of him. Maybe he's got another good outing in there. You never know. But the bullpen for Boston has also been playable, but not great. I mean, in the bottom half of the league with a 3.99 bullpen ERA doesn't inspire tons of confidence. The offense inspires no confidence at the moment. They scored 1, 2, and 1 runs against the Chicago White Sox, guys. Brutal stuff. I don't know. I struggle to find guys that are having a great start to the year, to be honest. I mean, we've seen some good stuff. They're 6th in runs scored and 9th in batting average, but it's not looking so hot at the moment, guys. I mean, they've scored 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, and 1 runs over the last few games. Like, this is getting brutal. This is getting brutal out there. So we'll see what they can do. Things aren't going to necessarily be super easy for them taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, who are 7-8 on the season, just winning 2 out of 3 there against the Atlanta Braves. They're handing the ball in this game to Shane Baz, who's off to a fantastic start to his season. The young 25-year-old right-hander dealing out there 1-0, a 1.38 ERA through a couple of starts. He dominated the Pirates, striking out 10 over 6 innings and giving up no runs. And then he backed it up with a very solid start there against the Angels. Bro went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He did have a home run mixed in there and 4 walks, so maybe he didn't even have his best stuff in that game and still managed 6 strikeouts and to keep his team well within reach. So we'll see what he can do in this one against a struggling Boston Red Sox team. We'll also see what we get from that Tampa Bay bullpen, which has been concerning. They are trending in the right direction at the moment. They're down to a 4.17 bullpen ERA, but definitely not a bullpen that I have tons of faith in. The offense, though, kind of coming alive there against the Braves. I mean, 8, 4, and 6 runs over a 3-game series is certainly playable. Brandon Lowe off to a nice start. This team is only 21st in majors in runs scored, but they are top 10 or top 9 technically in every other major category. I mean, they're 4th in batting average, batting .265 as a team, 7th in on-base percentage, a slugging percentage over 400. Like, a lot of positives for the Rays at the plate. So maybe we see those offensive numbers start to creep up. And the odds makers are noticing what's going on in Tampa Bay, guys. The Red Sox are plus 100. The Rays are minus 120. We had a total of 8.5 out there. Boston only 4-6 on the road, 10-5-2 to the under. Tampa Bay 7-5 at home, 8-6-1 to the under. I think this is an excellent spot to take under 8.5 in this game. I think that's very, very reasonable. Maybe Houck has figured some things out and he'll have a good start. But aside from that under, I think taking Tampa Bay at minus 120 is excellent value. Shane Baz is off to a great start this season. The Red Sox can't swing the bats at all right now. So yeah, definitely give me the Tampa Bay Rays in this one in addition to that under. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. We saw Rangans fighting some hamstring cramping there in that win against Cleveland to salvage a win in that series. The Royals are 8-8 now, and they can probably feel pretty good about hitting the ball in this one to Seth Lugo, who's now 1-1 on the season, a 3.24 ERA. and Bro is looking good again out there. A little bit of a struggle in his first start of the year against Cleveland, but then very good stuff against Baltimore, very good stuff against the Twins as well. So seems like Seth Lugo really back on the right path. I mean, this 35-year-old, you never know, things could start to go awry, but right now I am not too worried about him. I think we're going to see him continue to put up very, very nice numbers. Now, obviously not the easiest matchup, but we'll be diving into that a little bit because maybe it's not the toughest matchup either. I am concerned about the Royals bullpen, but they're headed in the right direction also. A 3.78 bullpen ERA. Certainly not the end of the world. The offense also has not gotten off to the best start, as evidenced by their struggles in this series at Cleveland, scoring 4, 3, and 0 runs over those 3 games. But we're seeing guys like Bobby Witt Jr. swing the bat a little bit better. Salvador Perez is starting to come around a little bit, it looks like. Overall, they're still 28th in the majors in runs scored and 29th in slugging percentage. So they're definitely not out of the woods yet, but I do think we're going to start seeing some signs of life here for this, struggling offense. Now, in terms of their opponent for this game, the Yankees, they're not having the easiest time of it either. They're 8-7 on the year, fresh off losing 2 out of 3 there against the Giants. Not the best start to the year. Not the start to the year here, as things have gone on. Obviously, they got off to an insane start there in their first series of the year, just destroying the Milwaukee Brewers. But since they've gotten some better opponents, it's looked pretty freaking bleak. They're hitting the ball in this one to Carlos Carrasco, hoping he can turn things around for them. But when you're hitting the ball to a 38-year-old with a 7.71 ERA, hoping he can get you back on the right track, maybe things aren't headed in the right direction. He has looked okay this season, but not great. Obviously, his last start at Detroit, he gave up 4 earned runs on 6 hits over 4 1/3. In a game, the Yankees lost 5-0. So if he doesn't get insane run support, it's not looking so hot for Carlos Carrasco. And the Yankees bullpen is right there alongside the Royals bullpen with a 3.75 bullpen ERA. So it's not necessarily killing it either. The offense is what's supposed to be carrying these Yankees. They've scored 4, 8, and 1 run over their last 3 games. We've seen guys like Paul Goldschmidt and Aaron Judge get off to good starts this season. The Yankees are still 2nd in the majors in runs scored and 5th in batting average and 1st in slugging percentage, but a lot of those numbers feel a little bit fake to me. 20 runs, 12 runs, and 10 runs, that's a big chunk of your offense all there wrapped up in 3 games, and it has not been looking that smooth recently. Like I said, 4, 8, and 1 runs over their last series is not what the Yankees are supposed to be doing. So, looking at the numbers, the Royals are plus 115. The Yankees are minus 135. We've got a total of 8.5 in this game. The Royals are only 2-4 on the road, 9-7 to the under. The Yankees are 5-4 at home, 10-4-1 to the over. This is a little bit of a rougher spot. I'm going to be leaning a bit here towards the under in terms of the total here if you're begging me for a total play. In terms of the side, it feels a little bit crazy, but I'm leaning towards an underdog once again. I think we want the Royals at plus 115 in this game more than we want the Yankees here as slight favorites. Carlos Carrasco being on the mound really makes me nervous there for the Yankees, so I think this could be maybe a yes-run first inning spot or a spot that we just go ahead and load it up on the Kansas City Royals at plus 115 with Seth Lugo on the mound looking pretty good. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Braves straight up not having a good time so far this year. 4-11 to start their season is pretty tough. They just lost 2 out of 3 there at Tampa Bay. They did win 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, so it seemed like they were turning it around, but not quite so much at the moment. They're giving the ball to Grant Holmes in this game, who's going to be making what is now his 3rd start of the season. He's 0-1 with a 4.00 ERA. His last outing was very respectable, though. Got to give the guy credit. Went 4 innings against the Phillies, gave up 3 hits and no runs. Now, he did walk 4 over 4 innings and struck out 6. So, yeah, the control remains an issue. Both of his starts have been riddled with control issues. He walked 4 against the Dodgers in a game where he gave up 4 earned runs back on the 31st of last month. So, not exactly somebody we have very much faith in. The Atlanta Braves bullpen also struggling out of the gates. A 4.44 bullpen ERA, a far cry from what we were seeing from this unit a season ago. And the offense has really fallen apart. Ozuna got off to a historically good start to last year. Well, it has not been as good this year, although it's been solid. Bro's batting .306 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. It's not terrible, but the offense overall is terrible. 29th in the majors in runs scored, 21st in slugging percentage, 17th in on-base percentage. They're just not hitting the ball very well. They scored 3, 5, and 3 runs over their last few games. it's not looking so hot for the Atlanta Braves here as they go on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 9-7 to start their year. They just won 1 out of 2. They had a game get postponed there in their series at Baltimore, but they won 7-6 in their last one. We saw Miles Straw driving the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. So, yeah, the Blue Jays honestly could have won both games in that series. Both were very, very competitive, but Toronto hoping things can stay, pointed in the right direction here for Easton Lucas, who's off to a great start. 2-0 to start the year, hasn't given up an earned run through either of his first 2 outings. He went 5 innings of scoreless ball there against Washington, only gave up a single hit. Then at the Boston Red Sox, so in Fenway, went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 8, walked 1, and gave up no runs. So yeah, loving what I'm seeing from Easton Lucas. This guy really feels like he's coming into his own at the moment. Now, one major problem confronting the Blue Jays right now has been that bullpen, but they're turning things around aggressively, guys. They're all the way down to a 3.86 bullpen ERA, which for a bullpen that's been through the ringer this season, definitely a great direction to see them pointed in. So really, guys, a lot of positives right now for the Blue Jays. The offense, maybe not completely included in those positives. I mean, they're sitting at, 19th in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in batting average, though, and 6th in on-base percentage. So we do expect these numbers to get a little bit better. We've seen George Springer, for instance, off to a great start. I mean, bro's batting .375 with 10 RBIs in the early going. So we'll see what they can do here. I'm kind of expecting good stuff for him against Grant Holmes. The Blue Jays are -110. The Braves are -107. We've got a total of 9. Atlanta's 1-9 on the road, so that's a pretty big yikes. They're 7-6-2 to the under. Toronto 5-2 at home, 10-5-1 to the under. Guys, we've been victimized by the Blue Jays this season. I am ready to be hurt again. Definitely give me Toronto here at -110. I think this is a very high value spot with Easton Lucas on the mound throwing the ball so well. Grant Holmes is coming off a good, albeit short outing, and once he comes out, we see the Braves bullpen, so definitely think this is an excellent spot to back the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're playing at home. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Happy Tariq Skubal Day, guys, to all those who celebrate. The Tigers are 9-6 to start the year. They've won 2 out of their last 3. Things are going pretty well. I mean, they just did lose 5-1 in their last game, but other than that, things are looking okay. They're giving the ball to Tariq Skubal, who's 1-2 to start the year, a 3.78 ERA. A little bit of a rough start to his year there against the Dodgers. Not great stuff against Seattle, but then he came back home and things got back to normal. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed, no walks, 6 strikeouts there against the Yankees. So seems like Skubal is back in shape, back where you want him to be if you are a Tigers fan. So maybe some concerns being alleviated. Now that Detroit bullpen hasn't been great this year. A 3.91 bullpen ERA is not what you want, but that could be getting better here as the season progresses. Definitely possible. The offense scored 1, 4, 7, 3, and 5 runs over their last few games, so not awful at all. Torkelson, guys, hitting the ball really well, batting over 300, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. He's doing his thing. Detroit is still a top 10 team in the majors in terms of runs scored, in terms of batting average, top 8 in both on-base percentage and slugging percentage. So loving what we're seeing from Detroit there offensively. We'll see what they can continue to do here as they take on the Milwaukee Brewers, who are now 8-8 on the season. They just lost 2 out of 3 at the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't know what to make of the Brewers here thus far, to be honest. They're hitting the ball to Tyler Alexander, who's yet to figure out a result this season. He's making his 3rd start. He had a very good first start to the year after transitioning from the bullpen. Went 5 2/3 innings of scoreless ball against Cincinnati, but then he pitched at Colorado. 3 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 earned runs, including a home run. Now, that was a game we saw Milwaukee win 17-2, so maybe he wasn't, bearing down as aggressively with that huge lead. So we'll see what happens for him in this game. We'll see what happens for that Brewers bullpen that has been one of the worst in the MLB this season, a 6.28 bullpen ERA. Certainly still, something to hang their heads about a little bit, but that could be getting better as well. The offense, we've seen some signs of life for sure. Now, their series against Arizona, 2, 4, and 7 runs. I'm not going to freak out about that. We've seen Jackson Churio, hitting the ball well to start the year. Bryce Terang batting .333 on the season. They're 3rd in runs scored, but 15th in batting average, 13th in on-base percentage, and 14th in the majors in slugging percentage. I'm not that sold on this Brewers offense at the moment. So, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Tigers at -160 with Skubal on the mound. That makes sense. The Brewers are +135. We've got a total of 7 out there. Detroit is 4-5 on the road, 7-7-1 to the over/under. Milwaukee 5-2 at home, 9-6-1 to the under. I would maybe be interested in the under if this was 7.5. 7 seems a little bit low to me. I do like Detroit here at minus 160, though. It's a little bit expensive. I don't know if it's a good enough price to end up in the pinned comment, but I think we're going to see Scooball be at his apex once again. And when he's throwing the ball that well, I don't think he's going to have too much trouble just mowing down a team like the Milwaukee Brewers. Rapid fire through these games, guys. We're looking at the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Mets come into this game 10-5 on the season, fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there at the Sacramento Athletics, if that's how we're going to say it. 10-5 on the year, not a problem for the Mets. They're off to, you got to give them credit for that start. That'll definitely work. They're giving the ball to Clay Holmes in this game. The 32-year-old right-hander, not killing it in the early goings. 1-1, a 4.30 ERA. This is his 4th start of the year, and the first 2 looked decent, but his second go-around there against Miami, he got shelled. That's his last start. It was back on the 8th. 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. He did strike out 10, and it was a 10-5 win there for the Mets, so maybe we shouldn't freak out too much, but Bros faced Houston once and the Miami twice, and I don't know. I just can't get that excited about him, to be honest. Just Clay Holmes not getting me going. So we'll see what he can do, in his 4th start of the year. We'll see what the Mets bullpen can continue to do. An ERA of under 2, a 1.95 bullpen ERA. Very, very solid stuff. Loving what we're seeing there. Loving what we're seeing from the offense recently as well. 8, 1, and 7 runs over the last 3 games. Certainly playable. We were liking what we're seeing from Pete Alonso here out of the gate. He's hitting the cover off the ball. This team is 21st, though, in runs scored and 24th in batting average. Not probably what they had envisioned with the kind of signings this team has made in the offseason. So we'll see if their offense can start to ramp up a little bit here at Minnesota. The Twins, 5-11 to start the year. It's been very brutal. They snapped a 3-game losing streak with that 5-1 win in Game 3 there against Detroit their last time out. So they'll take that, but it hasn't been easy. It has certainly not been easy. They're giving the ball in this one to Joe Ryan, who's 1-1 on the year, a 2.65 ERA. He did have a rough start against Houston mixed in there, but other than that, he's been very good this season. His last start back on the 9th was excellent against the Royals. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs allowed, no walks allowed, and struck out 4 in what eventually was a 4-0 win there for the Twins over the Royals. So yeah, they'll definitely take that. They're hoping that's the version of Joe Ryan they're going to get here going forward. The Twins' bullpen has been very solid as well. A 3.15 bullpen ERA has them 6th in the major leagues, so that's not been a problem. The offense, guys, has been a bit of it's been what's held this team back, to be honest. That's why they're 5-11. They're 24th in the majors. They've only scored 55 runs on the entire year. They're batting right around 200 as a team. Their on-base percentage and slugging percentages also very, very subpar. So that's been the issue this season for the Minnesota Twins. Now, they come into this game as the favorites at minus 115. The Mets are minus 105. We've got a total of 8 out there. The Mets are 5-4 on the road, 11-4 to the under. Minnesota 2-4 at home, 8-6-2 to the under. Guys, I think this is a very reasonable spot to take under 8. I don't really know if I'm interested in taking the Twins or the Mets as the side in this one, so I think we're going to just kind of stick with the under as our main play in this one. Now, is this going to go in the pinned comment? I don't think so. I don't have enough faith really in Clay Holmes, so maybe that makes me want to take the Twins here a little bit as well, but generally this game, not one that I have a lot of interest in. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Astros 7-8 to start their year. They did just win 2 out of 3 against the Angels, so they'll definitely take that. It has once again not been a smooth start to the season for this franchise. They're giving the ball to Framber Valdez, who's 1-1 to start his year, a 2.50 ERA. He's had 3 starts. 2 of them were fantastic. 1 of them he got shelled, and that it wasn't his last start. His last start was very good against Seattle. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, no runs allowed. His first start was dominant against the Mets. It was just him getting shelled there by the San Francisco Giants in the middle. So we're liking what we're seeing from Framber Valdez here at the moment. We'll see if he can hold things together in this one. We'll see what we get out of that Houston bullpen as well. They've been, we'll say they've been pretty darn good. A 3.30 bullpen ERA. It's not elite necessarily, but it's been fine. We'll take it if you're a Houston Astros fan, but you got to be hoping a little bit for better, and that definitely goes for this offense. They're 21st in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in batting average. Jose Altuve is still batting just over 300, but that's kind of where the positive news for this offense begins and ends. Just not a lot of great stuff. They did score 7, 1, and 14 runs against the Angels. It was the Angels, so let's not freak out too much, but pretty good stuff there from the Astros. So we'll see if they can keep these hot bats going here as they head to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals, who come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there against the Phillies. They shut out the Phillies in 2 out of those 3 games, gave up only 1 run. Gave up 1 run over 3 games. Like, that is not something I had on my bingo card for the Cardinals to be doing against a team like the Phillies. But we'll see what they can do in this one. See if they can keep things rolling. They're handing the ball to the guy who's kind of supposed to be their ace in Sonny Gray, who's 2-0 to start the year, a 4.50 ERA though, thanks to giving up 5 earned runs there against the Angels. But his last start was very good at the Pirates. 5 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run allowed. That was via the home run, but he walked 0 and struck out 4. Hasn't walked a hitter in his last 2 outings, so it seems like the control is pretty much there. So expecting good stuff here down the stretch from Sonny Gray. The bullpen for the Cardinals has had its problems. A 4.35 bullpen ERA is not great, but it's a number that's headed in the right direction, obviously after such a good series there against the Phillies. So I'm expecting to see that number get smaller and smaller. And Brendan Donovan is maintaining his very solid 350 batting average. That looks good. Herrera, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. That's also excellent. The Cardinals are 5th in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in batting average, 1st in on-base percentage. Like, now are these numbers that I expect to continue? Absolutely not. But it'd be cool if they did, as kind of a, Cardinals fan, at least by birth. So we'll see if they can keep things rolling here. The Astros are minus 120 with Valdez on the mound. Totally reasonable. The Cardinals are plus 100. We've got a total of 7.5 out there. Houston, 3-3 on the road, 7-6-2 to the under. The Cardinals, 6-3 at home, 9-5-1 to the over. I don't have a huge lean on the total in this game. I would maybe take under 7.5, but I kind of feel like you got to back the Cardinals right now. Like, they feel like the hotter team. They're hitting the cover off the ball right now. Framber Valdez, while he has had a couple good starts, has also had a very bad start mixed in there, and we'll see if he does well in this one, but I think the Cardinals plus 100 is a pretty good lean. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we are looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Cubs come into this one riding high. They lost game 1 against the Dodgers, but then won games 2 and 3, putting up 16 runs in game 2, and then winning game 3 there on Sunday Night Baseball, 4-2. So has to feel pretty nice. They're 11-7 to start the year, on top of the NL Central already. They're giving the ball in this game to Jameson Taillon, who's 1-1 to start his season, a 6.06 ERA. Not what the Cubs faithful were hoping for, but he's looked better over his last couple starts. He got shelled to open his year by the Diamondbacks. That's going to happen to some guys this year. There's no way around that. But then looked better against the Athletics, and then very good also against the Texas Rangers. I mean, 6 innings, 3 earned runs on 5 hits, and a home run isn't great, and he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his 3 starts this season. So let's not overreact. Bros had his issues this year, no doubt about it, but he seems like he's figuring things out. The Cubs bullpen comes into this game very middle of the road, if not below average, with a 4.28 bullpen ERA. Now, obviously, they're coming off a couple very nice games there against the Dodgers, so that's a number that's going to continue to lower, and I think they've got a decent pen out there, so I don't expect their numbers to be that bad for very long. The offense has been kind of nuts, to be honest, guys. I mean, yeah, we see Kyle Tucker off to a great start, batting .324, 5 home runs, 18 RBIs. He's a big part of the reason this offense is 1st in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in slugging percentage, 4th in on-base percentage, getting on base at nearly a .350 clip, and as a team, they're batting .256. So a ton of positives right now for the Cubs, especially at the plate. They're going to hope they can keep that rolling here against the Padres, who are 13-3 off to a sizzling start. They just won 3 in a row against the Rockies and won 2 out of 3 against the Athletics, so they haven't played a very tough team here in several days. They're going to be hitting the ball to Dylan Cease, who's 1-1 to start his year. An ERA of around 8, though, is a problem, and that's all thanks to his last time out getting shelled at Sacramento. He just knocked around by the Athletics, 4 innings, 9 hits, 9 earned runs allowed, and that was all without giving up a home run. So you were getting hit pretty hard, pretty often. So we'll see if he's got a bounce back in him, see if they jerk him early and put that bullpen out there, because the Padres bullpen is tops in the majors right now. A 1.51 bullpen ERA is crazy work. Yeah, the Cubs, they're going to be up against it a little bit. We'll see. The Padres' offense, though, has been amazing. Obviously, 1st in batting average, 11th in runs scored. They've scored 6, 2, and 8 runs over the last few games, and they shut out the Rockies over those 3 games. That's pretty crazy stuff there. Also, Fernando Tatis off to an insane start to his year. So, looking at the numbers, no shock here to see the Cubs as underdogs once again. They're plus 140. The Padres are minus 167. We get a total of 7.5 out there. The Cubs are 7-3 on the road, 12-5-1 to the over. The Padres 10-0 at home, 8-7-1 to the under. I'm really leaning towards the Padres here at minus 167. Cease is in a huge bounce back spot. I know taking Wheeler in a bounce back spot burned us yesterday, but I think Cease does a lot better in this situation. Taillon's been struggling out of the gate a bit, so yeah, I think the Padres are the way to go in this one. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the LA Dodgers. The Rockies come into this game losers of their last 3 in a row and 5 out of their last 6. This team's going to be bad. They're 3-12 on the season for a reason. They're going to be really bad. They're handing the ball in this one to Antonio Senzatella. He's 0-2 to start the year, a 5.14 ERA, and it's looking pretty bad all of a sudden after a couple great starts taking down the Tampa Bay Rays and the Phillies. He just got shelled there by the Brewers, giving up 9 runs. 8 of them were earned, a couple of home runs, and 8 hits over 4 1/3 innings. So that was pretty rough. Bros probably stoked to get out of Coors Field, even if it means he has to face the Dodgers. Now, the problem isn't only with him. The Rockies' bullpen has been horrendous to start the year as well, so we'll see if the pitching staff in general can clean things up, but it's not looking great. The offense is obviously looking as bad as you can possibly look. They've been shut out over their last 3 games. You heard that right. They've scored 0 runs in their entire series there at San Diego, so that's not really going to work. They're last in runs scored, no major shock there. This offense is trash. There's no way around it. Just absolutely terrible. So we'll see if they can get things turned around against the Dodgers, who are 11-6 on the season. They just lost 2 out of 3 there against the Cubs, though. Losing on Sunday Night Baseball as massive favorites probably feels a little bit embarrassing. They're massive favorites here once again, so we'll see if they show out. They're giving the ball to Dustin May, who's 0-1 to start his year with a 0.82 ERA. He's made 2 starts, and that loss, certainly not his fault. He went 5 innings, gave up 1 run. It wasn't even earned against Atlanta, and then followed that up with a very good start at Washington. 6 innings, 3 hits, only 1 earned run allowed in that game as well. So we'll see if he can get a little bit of run support in this one, see if that Dodgers bullpen can pick itself back up after getting shelled. They're all the way up to a 4.01 bullpen ERA, a number that is obviously going to come back down at some point. The offense, absolutely MIA, guys. 2-0 runs in their series against the Cubs. That is not going to work. Pretty embarrassing stuff. Mookie Betts leading the way with a 288 batting average, not something that I would have seen coming. Edman with 6 home runs is nice. Teoscar Hernandez with 16 RBIs is nice, but 7th in the majors in runs scored isn't a number that's looking sustainable if you're 18th in batting average and 19th in on-base percentage. So looking at the numbers, it's kind of crazy to see the struggling Rockies as this big of favorites. The struggling Dodgers is this big of favorites. The Rockies are plus 290. The Dodgers are minus 345. We've got a total of 8.5 out there. Colorado 1-8 on the road, 9-5-1 to the under. The Dodgers 7-2 at home, 10-7 to the over. Like I was saying earlier, guys, and this isn't going to feel fun, but I do think it's the positive expected value play. I don't think any team in the majors right now, including the LA Dodgers, deserves to be 3-1 favorites over anyone in the major league. So give me the Rockies, plus 290. Here's a small lean. It's not going in the pinned comment, but like I was saying about the Cubs yesterday, I just don't think there's that much separation from the best and the worst teams right now. I think that'll change over the next month, but right now, I think everybody's a little bit closer together than the odds makers think, and a plus 290 spot is very, very tempting. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get over to stumpthespread.com by clicking the link down in the description. Get over there and join our free email list. All kinds of great information on there. Check out our premium plays if you are interested in that. Let me know in the comments any questions you have about that or about today's slate. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.